Well, this is a very sad looking audio generator. It's a WA-44C, and I've had this for so long I can't remember when I got it. And I always intended to fix it up. That's not going to happen. There's just too much damage, and I can find one on eBay that's in better shape than this. So, what I'll do is a quick look at it. It will not fire up, and you'll see why in a moment or two. But it's taken extensive damage. This barely turns, and you'll see why in a moment. This is gone. Missing a knob. I've already pulled the screws out on this because I had planned on working on this. So let's just take a look inside. What I will be doing is reusing the case. This thing took an impact at some point, and I've already undone these screws. Just a little bit. It took an impact hard enough to break the caps off of it. That one's broken off, that one's broken off, this one's broken off. This one I unscrewed, so that's fine. Which also means there's a good chance that some of these tubes have been damaged. So what I'm going to do is just salvage parts off of it. The tubes eventually will go on to something else, more of as a display. It came with the power cord snipped off, and that should be a pretty good warning when you see that. Let's just look underneath here first. You got a couple caps in here, you got the transformer. At whatever times in the corner there, I will scroll through the manual for this. It's still available on the web. But really it comes down to the cost to fix this thing is not worth it. But what I will be doing is I'm going to be looking inside this can. I'll be salvaging this. That's the variable capacitor, looks really nice. Now, here's the extent of the damage on it. Let me just zoom in. Okay, if you can see it there. Yeah. It's cracked. This whole wheel, you can see, like it doesn't even connect anymore. Even if I do this in, with this being cracked, it just force it apart. So, yeah. So what I'm going to do now is just disassemble it, and then I'll probably voice over and speed it all up. It's sad, but there's just so much damage on this, and it doesn't even look pretty. As I say, on eBay I saw ones that looked significantly better. So, now to it. So I'm going to obviously keep the tubes. I don't have a tube tester, but oh well. They might become decoration or something like that in another project. The air variable capacitor obviously is a nice prize out of this. I did test it later. It's roughly 16 picos up to 500 picofarads. And it eventually came out. One of that little white thing right there is actually another trim capacitor. The electrolytic capacitors, don't really need them. I'll test a few of them to see what they're like as I knock the knobs off this thing. That one was a pain to get off because it had the Allen screw. Yeah, clips. But you know, another one to try. Obviously, I'll take these potentiometers. I might be able to use them for something in the future. Uh, Probably have to clean them up a bit. Those were precision resistors. You'll see these up close a bit later. As I slowly hack away at the poor thing, that was the turning wheel that had the rubber on it that was essentially solid, not moving. And I take these off. A bit difference in safety now. Two of those are line voltage frequency out. Now they are going through a resistor, but they might have a bit of a shock. I'm not sure on the voltage yet. Let's save all the parts. Now, what's holding this front on still? Okay, get rid of that one. Obviously, oh, there's where the loop goes in, and it all pops apart. There's another one that's a bit of a pain to get out of there. Now it's time to go after the transformer. And I do have the wiring for this, and the schematic will be a bit later. So I can actually figure out what all the colors are. And out comes, oops, I think I threw the inductor over there. And some more capacitors. Might as well take the board off. I'm going to be reusing this case for something else. This is just a nice little ideal case. To speed this up and to save my fingers while trying to desolder stuff, I just took it all apart. So here are some of the tubes. This is a 6U8A. Where's that other one? Okay, 6U8A, two of them. Then, here we go. This is a 6X4. You may not believe it, but that is basically a full wave bridge rectifier before the days of the silicone ones. So that's pretty good, nice. And I'll show it on the diagrams with the manual. And here's another DL. Oh, there we go. 6AQ5A. Since I don't have a tester, and this thing clearly took a huge shock impact, I don't know if these work. Maybe at some point I'll try to test them out. I did pull the sockets off also, and of course one little light bulb, which I believe runs at 6.3 volts, because that is what the heater is on all of these. You'll see it on the schematic. This transformer, the green I believe is coming out for the heaters, and this might be the, oops, there we go, WA-47. Yeah, it's either that one or 6, or this one's 6. The other one would be line voltage. Of course, the most important part out of all of this, well, maybe other than tubes, is this air variable capacitor. I have hooked it up to the meter, and I might as well do that. So on these, this here is the common. Come on. Quit oopsing. And then these two are separate. They are pretty well identical. Okay, let's get over to capacitance. So fully in, I'm at 100K. Let's go up to 1000K since this is like 534 picofarads. And as we rotate the plates away, now my hands are actually going to be affecting the readings here. And get it all the way open. It's roughly 18 picofarads. And if I measure the other one, okay, 16.5. Not bad. One of these things is pretty pricey, and I do have a use for that eventually. Let's see, what else do we have? We have a bunch of capacitors, which are probably good for nothing. We have this one. So inside here is 3 capacitors. The outside shell is the common. So one of these is going to be 20 microfarads. The other one is 20 microfarads. And the third one is 60 microfarads. Now let's just hook this up. So grab any of the ones on the outside. And now, okay, I'll have to, there we go. Oops, hey. There we go. Now currently I'm set at 100K, which is inappropriate for this value. Take it down to 120 hertz. It's reading 25 with ESR of 5.5. Probably not the best. But good luck finding the specs on this original one. 21 microfarads. Hey, did you change automatically? 6.6. And this one is 66. And I believe that was supposed to be 60. So, within specs. Fair amount of resistance. Actually, that's not too bad, 1.6. But, let's see what else. Oh, yes. Okay. 8 meg, 1%. 800K, 1%. So I got some nice 1%ers. Whoops, here we go. 18 meg, 1%. I'm pretty sure those probably cost a pretty penny back then. And then, of course, we have some switches. Oh, and an inductor. I might as well. Okay. There we go. At a 120 hertz, it's reading something. Let's get it up to the... Actually, this is probably at 120 hertz. You'll see it in the schematic. Yeah, maybe if I connect up to it properly. Okay, about 8 Henry. Oh, I didn't say hertz earlier. So that's it for this pile. Let's get to the schematic. So I found the manual online. 75 cents back in 1966. I'm not going to go through all of this. This manual is actually fairly easy to find, but let's get down to the schematics. So here's the transformer. You'll notice no fuse. Back then they lived a bit more dangerously. Um, and then on the blue wires out, it actually threw a resistor and you can then set the level of the signal just to get the line frequency. And the other side of the transformer is a center tap, and it leads over to this 6X4, which is the full wave bridge rectifier. Not bad. This is that inductor, the large one. So yeah, it would be at a roughly 120 hertz. Um, and then off goes the signal. Now you might be going, okay, what's the output voltage of this? You'll see it up there in a moment. This here, and I've done almost zero things with tubes. So the two green wires coming out go to that light bulb at roughly 6.3 volts. And why do I say 6.3 volts? Because that is the heating elements for each of the vacuum tubes there. Let's see. So we got power coming out here. And did you catch what it was when I scrolled past as quickly as I could? 260 volt. You really don't want to be sticking your fingers in these things when they're turned on unless you really know what you're doing. In this case, this one was trashed enough that I wasn't even willing to try plugging it in. So there's the, oops, let's get back. One vacuum tube, and then over to here, the next one as we go across. And they even show where you can pull signals out at. So here you got the sine wave output. And oh, that's the other thing is this is kind of cute how they did it with the schematics. So for the 6U8A, they've got two sets in there. So one side, like they're only showing the 3 pins for this part, and the 3 pins for, okay, it'd be this one over here. Yeah, 6UBA, not B, 8A, V1A. So there's half the tube, and there's the other half of the tube. So you just have to keep that in mind if you're looking at this stuff. And I'd strongly recommend you go find somebody else's video so you don't zap yourself. Down here is C13. So that's roughly the 16 picofarad to 500 picofarad air variable capacitor. Nice. And of course the switches. I'm not sure if these were yeah, okay, the 8 meg. So these were those 1% resistors in there. Oops, pop up the other way. And there was the square wave output coming across. So kind of neat. As I say, you pretty well need to know what you're doing if you're going to be playing with these things. I remember the old TVs, and yeah, they had hot chassis on them. You definitely didn't want to stick your fingers in there. But they got all the parts list, how to test it, etc. So I know some people are going to be a bit upset that I tore it apart, but that thing was basically a boat anchor, and I'll be able to reuse the parts for other things. So that's it for this one, and I can't remember when I got this thing. I've had it so long. But have a good one. Bye.